Here's the thing. Birds are real, and it's mean to say that they're not.
Now, hold on a second. You're telling me that birds are real?
They in fact are, and we're here to prove it on a new episode of the Birds Are Real podcast.
Wow. You'd think I'd know that after like 4 seasons of doing this, but I guess not.
Are we still technically in season three? I think we're in season
Yeah,
three,
but
right?
a lot of seasons have gone by since
Oh,
we
that
started
is
season
true.
three.
A lot of real seasons. Yeah, season three has been like 6 months at this point, probably. But we're chugging along.
Yeah, people
Um,
people have been complaining about how like TV shows, they always have just like really short, like 8 to 10 episode seasons these days. We got a 6 month long season, so we're spoiling our listeners actually.
That's true. I think a lot of television listeners really want their TV series to release an episode like once a month. I think that's really what they're looking for.
I
Um,
agree.
hey, not us though. We're on the weekly grind. Of
Yeah.
course, don't don't check the dates on our episode publishing. But
Yeah, Spotify like messes up the dates,
it's like
so
a
don't
weird
worry about it.
glitch. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Also, something I noticed when I was doing the our little intro here is we probably don't have to do that every time because we could just use old recordings and the people wouldn't even know. I probably shouldn't be saying this,
Well,
letting out our
we
secrets,
could.
but we still do it every time.
Yeah, it's like, like when a batter walks up to take their plate appearance, they play the same
Mhm.
song every time. It's just like you need that routine to kind of lock in.
Honestly, that's a good point. Great point.
Yeah. I'm
Um,
going to address the elephant in the room. I know everyone's thinking it. All like 4 people who watch on YouTube. I'm wearing a hat. My hair is a little weird right now, but it is a bird hat. This is the Hartford Thunder Chickens, which is a fun name for a turkey, a minor league baseball team.
the minor league baseball teams have the best names. I went to a Worcester Tornadoes game back in the day.
Hmm.
I think they lost, but
Hey,
I was there for the
who even
name.
remembers? Exactly.
Who's gonna remember? Yeah. All right, well, we're back. It's been a minute, so I'm sure, well, I know I have some field notes to share. I'm sure Sam does as well.
I
But
do.
before we get to that, let's do our hoot topics for the week.
I think we do field notes first,
Do we?
generally.
All right. I guess that shows how long it's been since we did one of these. Oh yeah, we totally do field notes first.
Yeah.
All right. Take it away.
All right. Well, in Philadelphia, have gone to the only spot I ever go to, John Hines. Been there quite a few times. Um, Not as much as I'd like. I feel like this spring, all of 2026 has kind of been a year of like, I'm not going birding as much as I'd like, but I did go a couple times. And I think the exciting thing about John Hines is, last year all the water was drained and it was kind of like a really sad spring. And the water's still drained for the most part. There's a little bit of water in there, but the swallows are back, like
Mhm.
almost in full force. Not quite, and not nearly as many as when the water is full. But when you go to John Hines, for those who have not been there, right when you walk in, you kind of start on this trail and you come across this big boardwalk. They call it the Big Boardwalk. And you go across, and like when it's popping, there are just like literally like hundreds, thousands maybe of tree swallows and barn swallows and some northern rough-winged swallows occasionally flying all around, like over your head, like right at your face, then like ducking at the last minute. And they kind of line the edge of the boardwalk, like the railing of the boardwalk. So it's really cool because you're kind of just like walking down like a hallway of swallows right there. They don't quite do that to the same degree anymore. Hopefully soon. They're talking about, I think next week, about their plans for reintroducing like the water and the habitats in John Hines. So I don't know when that would take place, but they're at least making a plan. But there are still a lot of swallows, so it's really nice to see the swallows. I love swallows. They're just so cool. The way they like fly all around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely missed the swallows. I saw a few tree swallows the other day out when I was birding, but definitely not in the same quantity or the same like capacity as the tree swallows. Also the barn swallows at the big boardwalk at John Hines.
hmm Yeah,
Yeah.
I think if I had to, I don't want to pit two birds against each other. That's not what I'm about here. But if I had to pick a favorite, I really love a barn swallow. Something about the orange is really nice, and just like that forked tail, it's so
hmm
cool.
Yeah, I think the color on them's great. Um Also they're the subject of my photo that was in the exhibit at John Hines, so that's also
Your
nice. So
muse.
definitely got a my muse definitely got a a soft spot for
hmm
a barn swallow. And you mentioned, they really do line the railings on the boardwalk. And that's where I got the photo of that barn swallow. It was just perfectly perched right there.
Yeah. I just recently went and I got a kind of interesting picture of a tree swallow on the railing. Don't know if it's, photo contest worthy, but I was glad to get one because they don't really hang out there quite as much anymore.
Hmm.
Um, but I also saw what you'd expect, a lot of geese, a lot of Canada geese. These days, the only ducks that are around are the mallards, but there's always still a couple mallards around. Haven't seen that kingfisher in a really long
Hmm.
time. But a lot of blackbirds, a lot of different kinds of blackbirds, which maybe I feel like we don't always give as much shine here because they're kind of everywhere, and But saw red-winged blackbirds, which we always see there, almost year-round. There's a period where they go away, but they're there. They're screaming. They're noisy. They're noticeable. But also some rusty blackbirds. This was more so like a month ago. I was seeing a good amount of rusty blackbirds, which was pretty fun. And more recently, Orioles. Saw both Orchard and Baltimore Orioles when I was there, which I believe are technically blackbirds, and they have really beautiful songs. I think it's really fun to see and hear an Oriole. This is the only time you'll ever hear me, the only context you'll hear me say that I like Baltimore Orioles is when I'm talking about birds, because the baseball team, thumbs down.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad you brought up the red-winged blackbirds because I mean, when they're around, that they're like pretty much all you hear sometimes, right? They're
hmm
so loud, there's so many of them. Um, but I'm gonna mainly talk about my field notes during my main topic, so I'll keep my field notes short. But I didn't really bird too much during the winter down here in Virginia Beach. I think part of it was I was really busy. The other part was that I think I was just expecting it to be like 60 degrees here in the winter, and it's just not. It's like 30
Yeah.
and less in the morning, right? So, I was expecting just like mild winter, like I'd go out, not have to bundle up or anything. So I think that was also like um a point to that just made it harder to get out. Also, that I'm the only person out here that I'm going out birding alone is what I'm trying to say. So
It's way
you
harder. It's
it's way
really hard
harder.
to
Like
motivate
you,
yourself to go.
yeah. Yeah, when you send me that text like 5:45 in the morning, you're like, "Yo, I'll be there in 10 minutes." That's you're like, "Oh, I gotta get up. I gotta get
You
ready,"
have
right?
to.
So
Yeah.
there's no other option. But when it's just you, you're like, "Bed's so cozy. It's 20 degrees outside. I'll just stay in bed."
Yeah. I
But
mean, it's like
all
I've been rolling out at like 8:39 the last couple
yeah.
days, last couple times I've gone, and I've missed a lot. I'll get into that in the hoot topic, but yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, if that's when you can make it out birding, that's better than just giving up on your day, right? So just throwing that out there. But all that to say, I do miss the red-winged blackbirds. Like these past few weeks I've went out, I heard the red-winged blackbirds again, and you kind of just feel at home,
Yeah.
It's a very homey sound, even though it's like kind of annoying, but it's very familiar. So
Yeah. Well, what I think is nice about the red-winged blackbirds too is that you never really confuse them for anything else. Like
Hmm.
they're in very specific spots, like predictable spots. They're making very specific noises, and they have just like their color, like the flashes of color that you see are these bright red shoulders, on their
Hmm.
wings. And like no other birds that you're trying to see have that. The female red-winged blackbird, that always confuses me. I always think it's like some sort of rare sparrow or something. It never is. But the male ones, at least, which are the ones you see the most often, they're the ones who are trying to make themselves known, and show off. It's you don't really confuse them. Unlike a robin, robins I confuse they trick everybody. You see like a flash of something, you don't really know what it is. They go really fast between trees. They're always hopping around, making all sorts of noises. And you always think for a split second, you're like, oh my God, something I made, and it's a robin, which like, hey, shout out robins. You're cool. Uh, you know, early bird gets the worm and all that. But red-winged blackbirds, I think that they just seem more ethical, right? They don't fool me.
Right. Yeah. You know what you're getting with a red-winged blackbird, and it's great.
Mhm.
Do you have any more field notes?
Yeah, well, so if you can only get up and out at like 8:39 or even later, um, which as I've been doing the last couple of times, there are still birds you can see, especially this time of year. This is if you're listening to this in early May of 2026 or any year, I guess. Now's the time. Go out. There's migration is really in like full swing, and there's a bunch of
Hmm.
warblers out. So I've seen a lot of warblers. I wanted to ask you actually. So here in Philly, like the most common warblers are yellow warblers, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, but also yellow rumped warblers are kind of like
Hmm.
everywhere. And they're the first ones to arrive. They're kind of here when it's still sort of cold. I think maybe they're the last ones to leave. They're really common here, kind of to the point where it's like if you ask someone like, "Oh, what are you seeing?" They're like, "Oh, I saw this and this," and like, a million yellow rumped warblers. Is it the same for you in like Virginia? Are you seeing a bunch of yellow rumped warblers?
It's a good question. In the peak of I don't want to spoil the main topic. We'll get there eventually. But yeah, during this peak migration season, so like, mid-April to mid-May, we're right in the smack dab middle of that. I've really only been birding this one location, right? So it's hard for me to say like overall in Virginia or like even in my general area because I've been this particular ecosystem is where I've been going. But um yeah, a lot of yellow rump warblers. Um I saw a black and white warbler just like while I was eating lunch, like outside of my window, which
Oh,
is
that's
really
awesome.
cool because you don't really get to see those too often. A northern Parula, that's how I say Parula.
That's how I
I was
say
out
it.
birding. Have you heard other people say it? Like it's like
Yeah.
Parula or something
Yeah,
like that.
that I think that's like one of like the birding memes that is, across the whole community is everyone pronounces it differently, but I say Parula.
I also say Parula. I'm pretty sure that's wrong, but
I
whatever.
say it because you're the one who introduced the species to me. You were like, "Oh, this might be a northern Parula," and I was like, "I've never heard that before in my life." But,
Yeah, I think I first heard it when I was obsessed with Merlin when I was in upstate New York for the first time.
mhm.
I was just anytime I heard anything, I would pull Merlin out. I was like, whoa, whoa, Northern Peru.
Nice.
Um, so I don't know, to answer your question, it's hard for me to say. I mean, I have seen a lot of yellow rump warblers. I feel like their range is just pretty widespread.
Yeah,
So
I think it must be. But I've
yeah.
also seen some common yellow throats, which are pretty fun.
Hmm.
Yellow warblers, as I said. Black and white warbler. I love a black and white warbler. Something about it. It was one of like the more recent, I think, lifer warblers that I've seen.
Hmm.
And we saw it together actually. It was like probably just about a year ago, actually, at FDR Park. That
Hmm.
was the first time I'd seen one. And so seeing one still feels like a treat to me. And I know people were hearing and seeing red starts. I didn't see any red starts, but they were around for sure. And ovenbirds are all over the place, but I haven't seen any.
Really, that would be a lifer for you?
I think it would. Yeah.
Yeah, ovenbirds. I forgot, because warbler's not in the name, but the place that I've been going to has a lot of ovenbirds as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, those are my field notes.
Cool, cool. Like I said, I've been very vague and cryptic so far, so stay tuned for the main topic if you want to hear my field notes.
All right, we have a couple hoot topics to get into. And I'll say this, the hoot topics came from, let's say, like intrinsic motivation, intrinsic inspiration. We came up with them. There's two of them. We've each come up with one. And uh, that's because our inbox is empty, folks. You can go ahead and send us some hoot topics at birdsarereal.pod@gmail.com. No question is dumb. Every question is welcomed. We just want to hear from you and we want to talk about it on air. And think about the dopamine rush you'll get when your question is read aloud by us live on air.
Your favorite influencers, just imagine that.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, so
So,
my first one is going to be this. How do you deal with failure when birding? Because something I left out of my field notes is that last few times, actually kind of the entire year, when I've been going birding, I have really failed a lot to see at least some specific birds that I've really wanted to see. So going back, we talked about the painted bunting back in, a couple months ago, and it comes to Philly seemingly every year, randomly in the winter. It's got its poles reversed or something. But I went every day for like a week straight during my lunch break to Bartram's Garden to try and see this painted bunting. And I had a limited amount of time because I only have like an hour for lunch, right? And I have to drive there and then I have to drive back. So I really tried to monitor what people were putting in our like Discord or Telegram apps when they're seeing it. And like as soon as they see it, I'm like, oh, lunch break time, and I go. And I missed it every single time. One time I got there and I got out of the car and ran to a guy and he was like, "Oh, we just saw it 10 seconds ago and then it flew off and then it did not come back and then it never came back." So that was kind of starting off the year on an inauspicious note, perhaps. But then recently, there was a long-eared owl at John Hines,
oh,
which was pretty cool. Not something I've ever seen before. Not something I even like thought I could see. I wasn't on my radar at all. But someone posted that they saw this long-eared owl. And people have to be kind of cryptic about where they see them. You can't really post the exact coordinates for owls because
owls
you don't want
in
to disturb
particular,
them.
yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to disturb owls. If you come across an owl, like, take a look, like, make sure that you're not spending too much time like staring at it though. Try not to get too close to where it's perching. And if it looks agitated at all, then just like maybe kind of walk away. Owls are very particular about like where they nest and like spooking an owl from its nest, it can have like pretty bad consequences for the owl. So you want to be respectful, and that's why sometimes people aren't like telling others about like owls that they see. But this owl actually seemed to be pretty well like situated in its spot, and it stayed there for a while. So the first day the owl was seen, Rochelle and I went and we went to go try and see it. And it was, late in the afternoon. We could only a couple hours of daylight, and we missed it completely. We ended up walking in the wrong spot, I learned later, but we didn't see it. Right after we left, someone posted in the Discord like, "Oh, just saw the long-eared owl," so just like missed it completely there. Then I went again last Saturday because people were still seeing it throughout the entire week. And then on Saturday I went and it was the first day that no one saw the long-eared owl, and then it hasn't been back since. So that was again a failure when I was out birding. I went birding the next day because I'd seen so many warblers and like orioles and stuff. I was really feeling the motivation, so I went again. And I saw some stuff kind of more of the same I had seen the day before. And it started getting kind of late in the day. It was like 10:30 or so, so I took off. And right after I took off, I saw a bunch of messages in the Discord like summer tanager was seen, the yellow-crowned night heron was seen, and like all sorts of just like really cool stuff right after I left. So once again, failed. But this morning, I saw a Telegram notification that a cerulean warbler was seen
Oh,
in the woodlands, which is very close to where I live. Um, Somewhere that's pretty easy to visit. And so it was like seen throughout the morning. I had work though. I saw the message right before I logged on to work, and I had a couple meetings, couldn't take my lunch break until right around 1:30. At 1 o'clock, someone was like, "Hey, just laid eyes on the cerulean warbler, still here." So I was like, "Great." Went over there, got there, and there were a couple people around this tree, and they're like, "We haven't seen it for, about half an hour, but it's supposedly up here in this tree." So I stayed there for as long as I could, didn't see it, gave up, left, and uh, as soon as I got back home at like 2:30, at like 3, someone was like, "Oh, saw this cerulean warbler again." So it's been a rough couple of outings there. I've been like bird unlucky, bird cursed, you might say. So it's hard to stay motivated when I have. Have you ever had a bird curse? Has this ever happened to you?
um, well, first and foremost, I'm sorry that this has been happening to you. That sounds tragic. Um, but I don't think I've had quite the same experience that as you've had, because like, so when you first posed the question, like, how does it feel like when you fail at seeing a bird or something, right? So I feel like very rarely do I go for the express purpose of like trying to see one bird and then I'm out there for maybe an hour and then I leave, right? With your situation, it sounds like you go during your lunch breaks, that kind of thing. But like, I'll when I go birding, it's typically like I'll go for a morning, like on a weekend or something, or a day where I'm not working or something. And I can have a goal bird that I want to see, but I feel like there's always something else that I can take away from the experience that doesn't make it a total failure. If he was, but like, if I was trying to see one bird and I went every day during my lunch break for like 45 minutes and I didn't see it, then I'd be, that'd be a bit demoralizing. But, because like I was thinking like when me, you and Rochelle went to go see the American woodcock, yeah, we tried a couple of times. We were in this like random location and,
Right
we
past the
didn't
burnt
see
out
it
car next to the broken toilet.
next to the broken toilet. You just got to pass a couple of, dead trees. Yeah. Um, but it's also if you do it with other people, you have that like moment together and I don't know, it's kind of a funny story that, we were like next to this broken toilet past the burnt out car at like 6 in the morning and also at like 8 p.m. trying to catch these American woodcocks and we never actually did. But yeah, no, I see what you're saying. The other one that does come to mind for me is when we just missed the American bittern,
Hmm.
and I saw it clicked right before I even said it. That's the one that I can think of for me that like like you said in your examples, like we just someone just posts that they see it, we get there and it's like, oh, just left, kind of thing. That's
Yeah.
the only one for me. Otherwise, I feel like in a lot of senses, we've been pretty successful. Like, I mean, we went to Bombay Hook to see the American avocet, to see the sandhill cranes. We saw both. We got lucky and we saw barred owl at Cape May. So, I don't know. I always try to find somewhat of a positive, even if I don't see my target bird when I go out.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's good. And that's kind of what I'm getting at here is like it's you kind of fall into a trap when you focus on lifers. And I think the Listers, the documentary we talked about a couple episodes ago, kind of dove into this, but
Hmm.
like, a lot of these times I did go in with the express goal of like, I need to see this bird, this one specific bird, because it's a lifer or just because it's like super rare and I want to make sure I see it, like FOMO, I don't want to miss out. But the last couple times where I still have the curse and I've missed the big things, I have like actually really enjoyed my time out birding. And there was like a period, a couple weeks in sort of mid to late April where I just like couldn't go out and I couldn't go out birding. There's just too many things going on. And so I really missed it. And so I really appreciate it the last couple times I've been out. So even like the robins, I was talking smack on them earlier. It's nice to see a robin. What a cool bird and really, really pretty song.
Hmm.
And all the, yellow-rumped warblers, sure, there's a bunch of them, but like still really exciting to see a warbler, means that seasons are still working, Earth's still turning, they're still migrating, so that's cool. The Orioles, I kind of forgot about Orioles. Went out and saw them and it was like, wow, amazing, super fun. So yeah, just you know, little inspiration perhaps. If you've gone out birding, you feel like you're not really seeing stuff. If you're like in a city like I am and you just feel like you're seeing, rock pigeons and song sparrows and that's it. Uh maybe, appreciate those guys, but also like there's more stuff out there than you think. So that's how you deal with failure when birding. You just don't consider it a failure. If you say you don't fail, then you don't fail. Like that's works in school too, actually.
Worse in a lot of facets of life, I feel like if you just gaslight yourself into everything's okay, actually this is not that bad,
Hmm.
then you're just chilling, then you didn't really fail, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and there's
Mm.
I don't know. I heard like a study recently that like going birding lowers your heart rate and like increases your some good medical thing. I don't know. I believe that.
Yeah, sounds good to me. I have been seeing that I'm sure primarily due to our podcast, but there's been a big boom in the younger generation in terms of birding hype, people going out birding. So that's great to see as well.
Yeah. I think we can attribute it pretty much like 80% to us.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
That's a conservative estimate as well, but we're
Yeah.
humble around here. Yeah.
We're really humble. Yeah.
All right. Moving on to the next hoot topic that I'm asking ourselves, is is there any new birding news that we want to talk about? Anything going on in the birding world that people may have missed?
Yeah. I think we alluded to it a little earlier, but something's going on with the yellow warbler, one of the more common
Mm-hmm.
warblers that we've seen. Do you want
Yeah.
to dive into that?
Yeah. I'll actually tell a little story about this. So I was out birding at the Great Dismal Swamp. Whoa, spoiler alert for the main topic of this episode. But anyway, I was out with a group and someone hadn't seen a yellow warbler before. And she was like, and we were using Merlin to help us, identify the sounds we were hearing because there's a ton. And she was like, "Oh, a northern yellow warbler. I haven't that'd be a lifer for me. I haven't seen that bird before." And I was like, "Hey, same. I don't know what a nor I don't know what a northern yellow warbler is. Let's go find it." And come to find out, it's just the yellow warbler that we've been talking about this whole time. So the thing with the yellow warbler, now called the northern yellow warbler, is they had a regional morph or like or a population that was more common in the tropics that was once considered to be the same species, but it had a pretty distinct phenotype from it. It was this, the yellow warbler body, but it had a chestnut rust colored head, pretty much. And they were considered within the same species, but they called this tropical population, this regional morph, a yellow mangrove warbler, right? Or just the mangrove warbler,
That's what they call it now, the mangrove yellow warbler.
the mangrove yellow warbler. Yeah, I think they called it like the mangrove morph or something like that. But I don't know who makes these rules. I don't know who decides these things, but instead of just calling the main population of the yellow warbler, and they've distinguished that, this southern regional morph, what they thought initially was just a subsect of the population, is now actually a separate species. So instead of calling that the mangrove warbler, they call the yellow warbler the northern yellow warbler, and they call the mangrove warbler the mangrove yellow warbler, which is just obscene.
Really ridiculous. And like they didn't even go north and south. You hear northern yellow warbler and the yellow warbler's been split in two. You got to think, oh yeah, southern yellow warbler, right? So no, no, no,
Yeah.
mangrove yellow warbler. And to your point, like mangrove is a cool name for a warbler. Get
Just
the yellow
mangrove
out of
warbler
there.
would have been
Almost
so
all
nice.
warblers are yellow. You don't need the yellow in there anymore. If you're saying they're different species, call them different things. So it is kind of silly, yeah. But I noticed that too, where like northern yellow warbler started popping up, and for a second I was like, "Oh, well, I've never heard of that before." And then I go, "Oh, no, I
Mhm.
have actually. It's
It's the
the yellow
same thing.
warbler." They've actually, I think they've done this with a lot of birds recently. It's kind of like a recent thing. I think towards the beginning of the year. One other that they did it with is the warbling vireo, which is not a warbler, but it is a vireo. Now it's the eastern warbling vireo, and I don't know what the other one is, but it's probably not western. It's probably like, Rocky Mountain warbling vireo or something.
Yeah, it's really foolish. I wonder if they put this to a vote or what, but
Well,
I
I was
don't know.
looking into
Like,
some of these name conventions earlier too, and the existing bird species that we differentiate, they've said this too. So there's like the eastern whippoorwill.
mhm.
There's another type of whippoorwill that used to just be called whippoorwill until it was in the 21st century. I think they changed it. You know what the other one is? It's not western. It's the Mexican
Something ridiculous.
whippoorwill.
The
So we got the
Mexican, the
eastern
Eastern, and
whippoorwill
the
and the Mexican whippoorwill. Same with like, what is it? Saw-whet owls, I think. So there's the
Mhm.
northern saw-whet owl. And then there's another one. It's not the southern saw-whet owl. I don't remember what it is, but it's something completely different. So,
I'm sure they have some sort of rationale for this, but I'm not buying it, whatever it is.
yeah. But a lot of name changes upcoming, I think, because they're getting rid of all the birds that are named after people, supposedly. I feel like we've been saying this for a while. I don't really think they've started yet, but that's on the horizon. So probably some silly ones coming out.
hmm I will talk about a particular bird later on in the episode. Um, that might get its name changed pretty soon, so we'll see about that. But
All right.
that's what we have for our field notes and hoot topics for this episode. So like Sam said, we have zero hoot topics left in our bank. So feel free to email us at birdsarereal.pod@gmail.com, or send us a message on Instagram, birdsarerealpod, with a question, with a statement, with a request, with a command, whatever you need to send us. Just send us something and you can be featured on an episode.
Yeah. And we'll send you like $5,000.
hmm
Yeah,
Yeah.
we won't. There's an asterisk on that. The asterisk is that we will not do that. But if you just tuned out of the episode before I said that, maybe you'll send us a hoot topic and think you're going to get $5,000. So, pretty good move
I
on
feel
my
like,
part, I think.
yeah, I think at least one person instantly closed the podcast and started emailing us. So I think that was a
Yeah,
good call.
great.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Main topic time.
Okay. And for our main topic for the episode, I'm going to be talking about my experience at the Great Dismal Swamp.
Best name in the game. Great Dismal
Pretty,
Swamp.
it's a pretty good name. I've been there a couple of times over the past few weeks. Once alone and once with a group. Shout out Cape Henry Audubon Society. So we'll talk about both of those. But I do just want to talk about the Great Dismal Swamp in general because it's really cool and it's got a lot of ecological and also historical importance. So, do you know
Excited to
anything about
hear
the
about
Great
it.
Dismal? Do you know anything about the Great Dismal Swamp other than me saying it for the past like 4 episodes without having gone?
I know that it exists. I know that you've had your eye on it since moving down there, and I know that it's
Hmm.
not Stumpy Lake.
It's not Stumpy Lake. Yeah, so first and foremost, where is it? It's a pretty large swamp or ecosystem, which I'll get to a bit later, but it spans from southern Virginia into northern North Carolina. There's a lot of history. It was first inhabited by indigenous populations about 13,000 years ago. At the center of the swamp, there's a lake called Lake Drummond, and through or per indigenous oral traditions, it has been said to have been formed by a great firebird.
Nice, like
Bird.
talking like phoenixy type of firebird, or
I
perhaps a bit
mean,
larger, huh?
yeah, I don't know. A great firebird, but hey, bird, so gotta mention it.
Good
The
point.
name, the name Great Dismal, was later given by Colonel William Byrd. Not making this
No.
up.
Wow. Is that bird like with an I or like a Y?
Y,
Okay.
R D. I should have looked into why he called it Great Dismal, but I didn't.
Kind of like
Still
a
a good name.
oxymoron there, right? It's like
Right, yeah, it's very
jumbo shrimp.
yeah, there's a juxtaposition there for sure. And so he gave it that name in 1728. So the Great Dismal Swamp nowadays is around 110,000 acres, and but it used to be about 1 million acres. So it's definitely a shadow of its former self, and that's due to European Americans doing a ton of logging and draining of the wetland, and redirecting the water for their own purposes. But I feel like I feel like 1 million acres is kind of hard to get your, head around, hard to visualize. So you've been to the Everglades pretty recently, right?
I have. Yep.
And they're big, are they not?
They are. It's quite large. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Everglades nowadays are about 1.5 million acres. So in its heyday, the Great Dismal Swamp was 1 million acres. So
Wow.
you can attest how large a
That
million
is quite
acres
large.
is.
I have like no concept of an acre. I like if you told me that a football field was 1 acre, I'd believe you. If you told me that like a a small front yard was an acre, I would believe you too. I have no clue.
Yeah, I don't have the exact measurements here, but uh maybe a better way to visualize 1 million acres is about the size of the entire state of Rhode Island.
Oh, all right.
Also 2.5 times the size of Los Angeles.
Los Angeles is a pretty big place.
That's also interesting to think about, like just about half of Rhode Island is Los Angeles. I don't know. Something's
Yeah,
off
that is
about that.
interesting. Yeah.
Something's off about that, but I think that's pretty accurate. Yeah. So as I was saying, it's a shadow of its former self. About 90% of it was cut down for logging, for timber, or just the swamp was drained. Haha, drained the swamp, and for other purposes as well. Particularly the Atlantic white cedar was logged almost to extinction in the area. 98% of that tree was logged from what I was seeing a lot was for shingling, like on roofs, shingles.
I didn't know that was made out of wood.
Well, I think back in the day, I don't think today.
Okay.
Like this was back in, like,
Yeah, yeah, sure.
mid to late 1700s.
Hmm.
Um so and the Atlantic white cedar is considered an endangered ecosystem worldwide. Um And as it goes with trees and like forest, swamp, wetland ecosystems, there's a long road to recovery because trees don't just sprout up, in a year's time or so. So there have been some conservation efforts to get um to help restore that Atlantic white cedar population, but as you can imagine, it's a work in progress, especially because commercial logging continued at the Great Dismal Swamp from or until 1974, so not that long ago.
Yeah.
But that's when it became a national wildlife refuge and logging was not permitted anymore.
All right. Well, then, yeah, and good thing they got that label when they did, I guess. Too bad it wasn't earlier. But
Yeah. Also, unfortunately, there have been a lot of tornadoes in the area, tornadoes and hurricanes in the area that um have also just like as natural disasters do, hindered those efforts.
right.
Most recently, 2020 hurricane, I think Isaiah, it was.
That sounds
Um,
familiar.
yeah, a lot of the birders at the in the Cape Henry Audubon Society group, they were pointing out that a lot of the trees were still recovering from the tornadoes and hurricanes in from years past. A piece of historical information that I think is really cool is that during the 1800s, the swamp was a refuge for a lot of indigenous and Black Americans escaping slavery. Thousands of them lived in the swamp for decades, as a means to escape slavery, and it was a stop on the Underground Railroad, Great Dismal Swamp.
Oh, that's good to know. Uh,
Hmm.
Nice. Put to good use, I guess. The Great Dismal Swamp.
Yeah, a lot of historical significance there, and learning about that while being there, it just also felt really cool just to be a part of that. Um, there was a lot of ditches and canals digged to drain the water from the wetland, and that also has caused a lot of lasting biodiversity loss and ecological and like ecosystem collapse that they're still recovering from. One of the main issues being fire risk. You know, you can imagine if you
Mm,
drain a wetland, the risk of fire goes up tremendously. So that's an issue that they've been dealing with as well.
yeah. Oh, I bet you don't think about wildfires as much on the East Coast, I feel like, because it's generally more wet. But yeah,
Mhm.
without the water, there's probably a lot of very flammable plants there. So this is probably a dumb question, but I'm going to ask it nonetheless. When they're draining swamps, like for what reason? What are they doing that for?
Good question. I think it's one for access. It's hard to access areas that are swampy and have water.
Mm,
And I mean they cut down 98% of the Atlantic white cedar population. So to get access to, I think, more trees to log. I think that was the primary reason. I'd have to look into it to see if there's any more, but I'm sure there's plenty of reasons to exploit this natural ecosystem for its resources.
okay. Yeah. They're not like I'm not going to ask a follow-up question. It's dumb and I realized it was dumb as soon as I was asking it. So you
Okay,
keep going.
so don't be like Sam. You know, if you think you have a dumb question, send us an email and send us a who topic regardless. We don't think they're dumb.
Yeah, I
Are
mean
you
the good
sure you
thing
don't
for
want to ask
you
that
is
question?
if it's dumb, like it's not on air to, podcast
Live.
audience. Yeah. We
Yeah, that's true.
if you ask us a really dumb question, which again there are no dumb questions, but if you ask us like a really dumb question, we just won't say it and no one will know.
That's true. No one will know except us.
Yeah.
Yeah. But nowadays, the Great Dismal Swamp is a hotspot, particularly during migration season for warblers. And I saw a ton of warblers. I saw a bunch. So the first time I went alone. Um, and I had the goal of seeing a Swainson's warbler. A Swainson's warbler, which was a warbler I was alluding to earlier when we were talking about birds that are going to have their name changed that were named after people. It's it's a pretty hard warbler to see, especially I mean its range doesn't go up to Pennsylvania, so there's no chance of us seeing it at John Hines or anything. The Great Dismal Swamp is the northernmost range of its the northernmost population that the that the Swainson's warbler breeds and migrates to.
Wow.
And it's a pretty reliable location to see a Swainson's warbler, which is why, that was my main target. And it's important because I don't think it's technically like critically endangered, but it's definitely like on the like endangered watch list of like it's like a conservation concern
Hmm.
because its population is not that high. So we were talking about the northern yellow warbler, very common warbler that we see. It has a large range along the east coast of the U.S. What would you guess the northern yellow warbler population is
Oh
approximately?
boy. I'm gonna expose myself again. There's
I mean, it's tough to get
This is
these
similar
numbers.
to the acreage question. Like you could tell me a gigantic range and I'd believe you. I'll
Yeah,
say 50 million.
that's not bad. You're halfway there. It's around 95, 90 to
Okay.
96
Not a
million-ish.
terrible
Yeah.
guess.
No, and I agree with you. Like, if someone was like, "There's 2 million yellow warblers," I'd have been like, "Yeah, great."
Sure.
If someone was like, "There's 20," I'd be like, "Yeah, great." It's really hard to visualize when you get to these types of numbers. But in comparison, the Swainson's warbler, there's only about 100 to 150,000 of them.
Oh, oh, that's much
Yeah,
fewer.
it's a lot fewer.
Yeah.
So that was my main goal to see the first time. I heard it a bunch. I didn't really see it. So
Classic
the
warbler.
yeah, classic warbler. The Great Dismal Swamp is similar and different to some of these other wildlife refuges that we've been to. So you know how with Bombay Hook you can drive along this like paved route.
Hmm.
Um, and in what was the other one? Forsyth. You can
Forsyth.
also
Yep.
drive along this paved route. Great Dismal Swamp, you can drive, but it's a dirt road the whole time, and it's full of potholes. And
Ah,
there's like trailheads, but you, it's really difficult to like pull over and park because the the road is for going and coming cars and it's like barely wide enough for two cars.
mhm.
So and sometimes there's just like one little divot where you can park onto the side for a trail. So it's a lot less maintained in that sense compared to some of these other wildlife refuges. I'm sure the government cuts to wildlife refuges haven't helped that at all. But
Right.
it's a lot less maintained or maybe maintained isn't the right word. It's a lot less done up, I guess, than other wildlife refuges.
Sure.
It's a lot more raw.
Hmm.
So yeah, so I was driving along, this dirt road, with the windows slightly down because I did want to hear, if I heard a certain call that I thought was interesting, I would stop. And I was there super early in the morning. I was the only car on the trail. But I also didn't want to open my windows all the way because there's a ton of bugs, like
Oh
like a
man.
crazy amount of bugs. I barely opened the window and like this big dragonfly still got in somehow and I had to like shoo it out. I don't know.
Wow.
It
I don't think I've
whenever
ever
you
had a
put
dragonfly in a car before.
Yeah, it was a startling experience for sure. Whenever you visit, I know I still would like to go to Great Dismal Swamp with you, but when you in the summer, I can just imagine it's just gonna be terrible.
Yeah, and you think
Mosquitoes,
about
every type of bug you can think of.
like Forsyth even, which is much further north in the summer,
Hmm.
there's these gigantic biting flies where if you open your window for a second, they just swarm in. I can't even
Yeah.
imagine down there.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any biting flies. I mean, it's still somewhat early in the season. I imagine it's just a lot worse. So much worse that the Cape Henry Audubon Society doesn't even host bird walks in the summer there. So if that tells you anything.
Yeah.
But the first time I went, I was hearing a ton of stuff like white-eyed vireo, Blackburnian warbler. I was hearing the Swainson's warbler, but it's just so difficult to see because there's not too many. It's the tree cover so thick that you can feel like you're hearing it right in front of you, but it can be a couple of trees back even, and it's just impossible to see just because the cover is so thick at that point. So didn't get to see it my first time. But although I did see a prothonotary warbler, which was
Nice.
really striking, really pretty call. Prothonotary warbler, for those of you that don't know, really stark yellow body, with black bill, like gray blue wings. And it's called prothonotary because since it's so starkly yellow, people thought it looked like yellow papal robes. So I guess prothonotary is like a something related to the papacy, or
All right. So it's kind of
yeah,
like a cardinal situation.
kind of like a cardinal situation for sure. Um, yeah, and that was the only bird I really, the only lifer I saw that time when I went out by myself. And speaking of failures, I felt like a little bit like, oh, I drove like an hour to get to Great Dismal Swamp. I spent like, a few hours there. I heard a bunch of these different birds that would all have been lifers for me, but I didn't get to see any of them. But I did take away that I saw a Prothonotary warbler and I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
While I was there, on like the info boards, I saw that um these people were hosting a bird walk. And I was like, hey, listen, if I can't see anything for myself, maybe these people will point stuff out for me, right?
Yeah.
So a couple weeks later, I joined them. Lovely group of people. There were there was maybe like 14 or 15 of us. Um, 12 of them were women over the age of 60, probably, guessing. There's this one older dude, and then there was me, and there was this one younger woman. But all lovely people. I say this because all these people are way more experienced in birding than I am. They were like, "Oh, we got some young, fresh eyes to help us spot the birds," and I was like, "Hey, don't count on me for anything. You guys are all better than me at this." And it's every time it's so impressive the how good these people are at recognizing birds by call. And I guess that just comes from experience. Like, I mean, like we were talking about the red-winged blackbird. I was like, oh, obviously the red-winged blackbird, we know that call now. But it's just for like every single bird you can imagine. The one thing that stuck out to me was there was this lady that I forgot her name. I think it started with an M. Anyway, she heard a yellow-billed cuckoo. And
Whoa.
I had my Merlin out. Yellow-billed cuckoo wasn't coming out. So, and Merlin can be faulty at times. So,
Hmm.
and then, we're still walking and she's like, "Oh, there's that yellow-billed cuckoo again." And I'm like, "Oh, Merlin's still not picking it up. Maybe she's just hearing something." She's like, "Oh, there it is again." I'm like, "Okay." Merlin's still not picking it up. So, is this bird really here? And then we saw it and it was amazing. So that
You
was a that
did.
was a lifer for me. Yeah,
Oh,
and
wow.
she was vindicated. I mean, you it wasn't like everyone was like, no, there's definitely not a yellow-billed cuckoo here. But out of the like cacophony of sounds that we were hearing, she just like picked out this like one specific call that even Merlin wasn't able to pick up. So I thought that was really impressive. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And that's also a lifer for me. So that was
I
great.
mean that's awesome. That would be a lifer for me. Just looked up the cuckoo because I don't like have it in my bag what a cuckoo looks like just like off rip.
Hmm.
It's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Uh, did you like was it just like a glance you just barely saw it or like you got a pretty good look?
No, I got some pics that I definitely need to take a closer look at. It was super high up, so it wasn't
Hmm.
like very like super well framed or like it wasn't like a super like Instagram
Sure.
framing artsy pic, but you could tell it was a yellow-billed cuckoo. Clear photo for identification purposes. Yeah, it was great.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, really high up, and it kind of like was flying with us as we were walking
Ah, cool.
for a bit, so I thought that was cool. Another lifer that I actually saw three of them that day, was the red-headed woodpecker.
You did. You got to see one. That's so cool.
Have you seen one?
I've never seen one. No.
See, it's like apparently it's like a, I mean, I guess depending on where you live, it's like a super common like backyard bird. You know, like you
Hmm.
people see it out there like bird feeders and stuff.
Yeah.
But I had yet to see one, and we saw three males, which males have like the stark,
Yeah.
really crimson red head. So yeah, those guys were really cool. I don't want to make any promises, but I think I'll post a red-headed woodpecker pic to my Instagram at some point.
Awesome.
Dude, it's been like 6, 7 months.
6, 7.
Yeah, yeah, since I posted a pic on Instagram, I really need to get back on that.
You know what? I understand. Like it can get kind of like, oh boy, I gotta get back in the game with like a heater. Um,
The
but
people are waiting.
here's the thing: the people are gonna like your people like your picks. Like they do that. And then once you just like post, you just keep doing it. People will stop liking it. Like that's what happened to me. People get kind of like sick. They're like, oh, Sam posted another bird. Who cares? Scroll past it. But you get it out there. It feels good, and like I'll always like it. You'll have like
That's
there's gonna
true.
be like 5 people who always
The
like it, and
loyals.
those are the best
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
Hey, your recent post with those five warblers, one not warbler, those were real good, I
Yeah.
have to
So some
say.
nice shots in there, I thought.
Yeah, yeah. And then finally, the the crowning jewel was seeing the Swainson's warbler. So, you know, I've hyped all of these birders up with me. They're fantastic. They're great. But I was the one who spotted the Swainson's warbler.
The young
Um,
eyes.
the young eyes and the older gentleman, he had like a laser pointer with him. So it's I mean, as you know, it's so tough to describe where birds are. So for one, the Swainson's warbler is like this tiny warbler, and it's like brown olive colored. So it's
Yeah.
just like a
This looks like a
brown little
tree. Yeah, yeah.
blob. Yeah. Super small. And it was on, so we could hear it very loudly. So we knew it was like in the direction we were looking because it was singing really loudly. Um, but the side that it was on was super shaded. So it wasn't even like sunlight was shining on that area. It was just like all in shadow.
Hmm.
Um, and you know, me with my young, youthful eyes, I picked up on just like the slight head tilt when it would like sing. It would like go up and down and
Nice.
open its mouth. So I saw it and then I panicked. I was like, I see it, and then I got a quick photo, and then I didn't want it to fly away because that's what everyone's here to see, right? And I was like, I think I see it. Everyone was like, where? I was like, it's right in front of us. I don't know. It's right there. Um, but you know, I thought I did an okay job. I was like, you know, the tree right in front of us, like second to lowest branch, like in the middle of that branch. I was like, it's in shadow, like has, you know, it's in shadow, like it's gonna look black. And and then the older guy, he gave me a laser pointer.
Nice.
So I like traced from the trunk of the tree up to where the bird was, and we all saw it, and it was great, and I felt great about myself, and I
Yeah.
saw the Swainson's warbler, one of the around 100K that exist in the world.
It's amazing. I mean, you were a hero there. And
Hero.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
See that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, describing where a bird is, especially in like the spring and summer when the leaves come in, and
Hmm.
like when you're in a pretty densely wooded area where there's so many layers of like branches, it's so hard to describe. So,
Yeah.
laser pointer, pretty good. I remember we had, I guess I won't dox this person, but we were at Heinz once, and this person came up and was like showing us, what was it, the white rumped sandpiper?
Oh, okay. I know who you're talking about now.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
And they used a laser pointer. I was like, oh, never occurred to me, but that was really helpful because I would not have seen it otherwise.
I should probably get one because, like, honestly, that was really helpful too because it was on like just like a mud plain, and there was like hundreds of sandpipers there.
Hmm.
So it was like, hey, you see that one right over there? That one's a different species because it's slightly different,
It's
you
like
know,
slightly shorter
like
or something. Yeah.
it's like slightly shorter or whatever. But no, the laser pointer definitely helped. And yeah, it just felt good to like contribute, I guess. I mean, I don't know. if you go on a bird walk, you don't need to feel like you're contributing or something, right? Honestly, but if we're getting real here for a sec, I feel like sometimes I'm like a poser because we have this whole podcast and everything. I'm like, oh, I should know more about birds, and we know birds, we know good amount about birds, but um, seeing these other people in action who have been birding for like longer, much longer than I've been even alive, it's
Hmm.
really they're just a wealth of knowledge, and
Yeah.
it's just really cool to see.
Yeah, I've really been thinking about lately, like I should probably try to go to more bird walks, like, led by people, a lot of people looking, because we only did that once or twice, I think, when you were here.
Mhm.
And I've never gone back, but that would probably be a way for me to stop, failing when I bird, whatever. Failing doesn't exist, but uh, there is just like it's cool. It's like a free resource. It's just that there are these like expert-led bird walks all over the place. So I'm glad you went to one. Sounds like it was really good.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, I went to Great Dismal Swamp by myself for the first time. Had a good time, but in just like a general sense, but in a birding sense, I was like, left a little to be desired just because I really couldn't see these see these
Hmm.
birds.
Well, the warblers
But
especially, they're so high up. It's just like
yeah,
you're breaking your neck trying to see it if you don't know what you're looking for.
exactly. And then um yeah, just some of the other stuff we saw that were not lifers for me, but that was just still really cool to see was the male hooded warbler. Because we saw the female
Yeah.
at I forgot what that place, the water
The
treatment
water
plant.
treatment plant. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Northeast
So we saw
water
the
treatment plant.
yeah, so we saw the female, which is less, interesting from a plumage sense. So I mean, I guess it's kind of a lifer seeing the male species of the hooded warbler.
Yeah.
Saw a couple of those. Has a really similar call to the Swainson's warbler. Which we found out. We were like, no, that's a hooded. No, that's a Swainson's.
That's funny.
Um, and we saw a bunch of prairie warblers, which I feel like I've only seen one before, and there's a
Yeah.
ton.
Nice.
Saw a good amount of parulas. I heard an Acadian flycatcher. Someone pointed it out you just by their ear before I even pulled out Merlin. But I didn't get to see it, so I didn't add it to my life list.
Yeah.
I saw a flash of red just fly by, and I'm pretty sure, I'm like 99% sure it wasn't a cardinal. So
Tanager.
I was thinking a summer tanager,
Yeah.
and I vocalized that, and they were like, it's not really the time. It's a little too early for a summer tanager. So then I was like, what do you think that was? They're like, oh, I didn't see it. But I hadn't seen a cardinal at all that day, and I really don't think it was a cardinal. So I
I
think
mean,
it
yeah.
I think it was a summer tanager, which would have been a lifer for me. But I haven't counted it yet.
I mean, I believe you because one thing Cardinals have a really distinctive call where like if they were around, you'd be
Yeah, I would have
hearing
heard
them,
it
right?
too.
The little like
Yeah.
laser gun.
Pew pew.
But also I uh or not I, but one of the cool species that showed up after I left John Hines once was a summer tanager. That was just like a couple days ago. And I'm more
Mm.
north, so if it's here, I think it could definitely be uh,
Mm.
by you, even if it's like technically earlier than it should be.
Yeah, and for those of you that don't know, the summer tanager is like another like pretty much all red bird, which is why we're comparing it to a northern cardinal. And to my knowledge, there's not really another one, so I don't think it was a cardinal. I think the only other option would be a summer tanager, but I'm still not going to count it for now. I'll
Yeah.
hopefully see one for real at some other time. But
Yeah, I would love to see one of them. They're it's like super
yeah.
pretty. But
Hmm.
and that's a cool one where there's a couple of these birds, but this is a cool one where like the male is this bright red, but the female is also like bright yellow. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
kind of
totally
cool.
different.
Ketchup and mustard.
Yeah. Well, that's all I have for the Great Dismal Swamp right now. I'm planning to go back at least one more time before, peak migration ends just to do it.
Yeah.
Hopefully, see some of the other warblers like the Black Burnian, maybe some of these other vireos that I didn't get to see. But yeah, love this place. Super excited about it. It's a little far, but it's definitely worth it.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you for sharing. I feel like, especially this podcast, we can get kind of bogged down in like John Hines, John Hines, John Hines. So nice to have a deep dive into a new place and glad it was so successful.
All right, moving on to our closing caw. We're gonna play 20 questions again because I
Ooh,
didn't pre well, I thought about preparing the portmanteau game again, but that's a lot of work. So maybe
that's a
next
lot
time.
of work. Yeah. Let me grab
But
my Sibley guide.
oh, go for it. Can you also keep track of your own clues?
I can. Yep.
Okay. On a scale of 0 to 10, how hard should I give you?
5.
5.
But
Oh, all
tell
right.
tell everyone on the podcast that it's a 10.
Sam requested a 10 out of 10 difficulty, and here we go.
All right.
So, okay, I have the bird.
Cool. Is this on my life list?
It is not on your life
Okay.
list.
Is this a songbird?
It is not a songbird.
Is this a shorebird?
It is not a shorebird.
Okay. Is this a bird of prey?
It is a bird of prey.
Aha. Okay, we're getting somewhere. I believe that's 4 questions in. Um, is this a an owl?
It is an owl.
Are you being really mean to me right now?
No, that counts as a question.
Okay. It's not a
You're at,
long-eared owl.
it's a long-eared owl. All right, we're doing another
You
one.
are being really mean to me right now.
Oh, I thought you meant mean as in like you have no idea what this bird would ever be. I mean, I just flipped to the long-eared owl page. It's just a coincidence that you missed it
All
twice.
right. All right, round two.
Round two. Da, da, da. It's tough because I want to choose a bird that you have like a chance of getting,
Hmm.
but that's not like super duper obvious.
Yeah.
All right, I got it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Is this one on my life list?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm not
Um,
100% sure on that. I don't think so
that's
though.
fine. It's a cusper, that's fine. Um, is it a songbird?
It is not a songbird.
Is it a shorebird?
You could classify it as a shorebird. Yeah.
Is it more specifically a long-legged waiter?
I would not consider it a long-legged waiter.
Oh, okay. Is it like a duck? Is it duck
Not a,
adjacent?
no,
No. Okay. Um, is it in the gull arena?
no.
No. Um, but it's kind of a shorebird, huh? But it's not like a long-legged waiter, so it's not like a heron or an ibis. Interesting. Can they be seen in Pennsylvania or in like Philadelphia area?
I don't think so. Not really.
Oh, okay. So maybe we're thinking
I would
of
say I would say no.
no, thinking of maybe like a Florida type bird. Can it be seen in Florida?
Yes.
Okay. Um, boy. Okay. Is it like kind of like in the like coot slash Gallinal arena?
Uh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Like a rail? Is it a rail?
It's a rail.
Okay. Is it a Virginia rail?
It's not a Virginia rail. How many
Is it
questions are
a,
you on, by the way?
I'm on 12. This will be my 12th.
Okay, okay.
Is it a clapper rail?
It is a clapper rail.
Nice.
Yes.
I have seen a clapper rail
You
actually.
have? Oh,
Yep. The
okay.
last time I went to Forsyth, I just barely saw it. I heard it because they make that really loud noise. And then it like just popped out of the reeds because I thought no one
Hmm.
was watching it. And then I like rolled down my window, and as soon as it saw me roll down my window, it just went right back into the reeds. But uh
Got it. Yeah, I remember us. We didn't see it, but we heard it. When we were also pretending we saw the seaside sparrow
yeah.
that one time.
Exactly. Yeah. Also at
Yeah,
Forsyth, that's kind of the thing with rails is
yeah.
you'll hear them, but very rarely will you see them.
Hmm.
Okay.
All right.
Two
Hey, well,
successes. Hey, pretty good guessing
that's
by me.
that's pretty good. Yeah, good job on the 20 questions. And thank you everyone for listening. Send us in some hoot topics.
Yeah, glad to be back at it. Let us know what you
Mm-hmm.
think. Give us a rating, I guess. I think that's still a thing you can do, or like the podcast if you're on YouTube. Share it with some friends. Share it with some family members. There's that weird uncle you haven't talked to in like 12 years. Just text him a link to this, no context. Let him listen. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, and if you do get the opportunity to, especially if you're listening to this episode close to its release, try to get out birding. It's a great time to get out birding right now. Spring migration, you're gonna see a lot of warblers, a lot of cool stuff.
It's a great time. Yeah. And just like if you're not sure where to go, public parks, like places where there are trees, or water sources, great places to go, or download eBird. It's free and you can just like search for hotspots in your area. It can give you a good idea of where to go.
Great resource.
Yeah. All right. Until
All
next
right.
time,
Have a good one.
have a good one.